All right, let's dive right into this explainer and break down the absolute adrenaline rush that is the story plot of the 2011 action masterpiece, The Raid. Directed by Gareth Evans, this film just strips away all the usual Hollywood fluff and drops us straight into a claustrophobic nightmare. So let's look at exactly how this incredibly relentless plot unfolds. To really understand the hype behind this film, we gotta look at how a seemingly simple tactical premise violently escalates out of control. I mean, the core question driving this entire thing is simple, but absolutely terrifying. How does a 20-man police squad survive a 15-story death trap? It's not just your standard action sequence. It's basically a vertical labyrinth where every single floor throws a new deadly obstacle at them. But before the total chaos kicks off, let's quickly map out our key players here. On the side of the law, we've got Rama, a rookie tactical officer, alongside his unit leader, Sergeant Jakaka, and Lieutenant Wayu, who's the guy actually arranging the raid. Then, on the opposing side, running the criminal underworld, is the untouchable and ruthless drug lord Tama, his trusted right-hand man Andi, and his just purely evil enforcer, Mad Dog. Getting a handle on these players is absolutely crucial because their intersecting paths are what drive this entire crazy narrative forward. Okay, so picture this. The timeline kicks off with the squad executing a clinical, super stealthy sweep up the lower floors. They get in completely undetected, systematically subduing various tenants. They even run into Golfar, who's just a regular, law-abiding guy trying to deliver medicine to his sick wife. Honestly, it all seems perfectly executed, right up until they hit the 6th floor. There, they're spotted by 2 young lookouts. One gets shot, but the other one actually manages to raise the alarm, and literally in a fraction of a second, their cover is completely blown. And right here, this is the exact moment the genre practically shifts from a tense police thriller straight into pure survival horror. The second that alarm echoes through the halls, the squad's carefully laid plans just vanish into thin air. They are definitely no longer the predators executing a raid. They've just become the prey, trapped inside this massive, inescapable concrete cage. Now, what's really interesting is how systematic Tama's counterattack is. He doesn't just fight back. He traps them. He instantly severs all their escape routes. He's got snipers taking out the officers guarding the outside, his gunmen completely destroy the SWAT vehicle, and he unleashes the criminals to go retake the lower floors. And then, in just a brilliant, terrifying strategic move, Tama cuts the building's lights. They are entirely sealed in the dark. Then, Tama gets on the PA system and announces to the entire complex that the cops are trapped on the 6th floor stairwell. He broadcasts this chilling offer: free permanent residence to those who kill them. I mean, wow. With that one sentence, he effectively turns every single addict and criminal in the building into a highly incentivized killer. The sheer volume of enemies the squad is facing just skyrocketed from a localized gang to hundreds of desperate armed tenants. So you might be wondering, where is the backup? Why are there no reinforcements coming? Well, just as the squad is getting absolutely hammered by an ambush from above, we get hit with our first massive plot twist. Lieutenant Wayu actually staged this unsanctioned mission himself. He confesses to Sergeant Jaka that he organized the raid to take out Tama, who, by the way, is in league with corrupt officials, completely off the books. Command has no idea they're there, so absolutely no backup is coming. They are entirely on their own. Cornered in an empty apartment with thugs literally pouring in, Rama has to think fast. He uses an axe to smash a hole straight through the floorboards, dropping what's left of his team down a level. Then, using just a propane tank and a refrigerator, he engineers this massive improvised explosive device that totally neutralizes the immediate threat above them. It's just a brilliant stroke of on-the-fly ingenuity, and it barely, and I mean barely, keeps them alive. But with Tama's reinforcements closing in fast, the survivors are forced to make a really tough call. They have to split up. Jaka, Wayu, and Dagu retreat down to the 5th floor, while Rama and a gravely wounded officer named Bowo head up. It's a classic divide-and-conquer scenario dictated by pure survival instinct. And as a viewer, the tension instantly multiplies, because now we're tracking 2 distinct, incredibly vulnerable groups. Following Rama's solo ascent is just exhausting in the best way possible. Just look at what this guy goes through to survive. He fights off a massive hallway ambush single-handedly, manages to hide the wounded Bowo in Gofar's apartment, and then faces down a literal 5-man machete gang. And the crazy part? After all that grueling upward progress, he tackles the gang leader through a window onto a fire escape, which violently plunges him right back down to the 6th floor. Talk about a brutal reset. It just anchors you in how claustrophobic and inescapable this vertical nightmare really is. And that fall brings us right to our second massive twist. Back on the 6th floor, Rama runs into Andi. Now get this, the crime lord's trusted lieutenant, he is actually Rama's estranged older brother. It turns out Rama's secretly signed up for this deadly suicide mission at their father's urging just to find Andi and bring him home. But Andi has fully embraced the underworld and flat out refuses to leave. It sets up this incredible, heartbreaking moral divergence right in the middle of an absolute war zone. Meanwhile, we drop back down to the 4th floor, and things are looking grim. Tama's enforcer, Mad Dog, who is just purely evil, discovers Jaka's splintered group. The tension here is almost unbearable. While the cowardly Lieutenant Wahyu literally runs off, forcing Dagu to protect him, Sergeant Jaka is left standing there, having to face the consequences entirely alone. What happens next is a shocking display of brutal confidence. Mad Dog actually bypasses his weapons, he drops his gun, to challenge Jaka to hand-to-hand combat. Mad Dog is really defined by his love for the physical, visceral fight. He views guns as too quick, too impersonal. It's a punishing, tragic encounter, and it ends with Mad Dog killing the sergeant by breaking his neck. It completely eliminates the squad's capable leader, leaving Mad Dog free to head back up to Tamachuro. So, regrouping with Dagu and Washu, Rama has to fight his way up through a literal narcotics lab to finally confront Tama at the very top of the building, the 15th floor. The stakes have seriously never been higher. Rama is pushing through the absolute heart of Tama's illegal operations, just determined to sever the head of the snake and end this nightmare once and for all. And right here, the plot reaches an absolute boiling point. Toma had actually been watching the surveillance cameras and discovered Andy's treachery, so he brutally incapacitates him. When Rama finally reaches the top, he finds Mad Dog torturing his brother. In that moment, family ties completely override the law. Despite their diverging moral paths, the two brothers have to unite. They team up in this desperate, bloody 2-on-1 battle, and it takes absolutely everything they both have to finally bring Mad Dog down. At the absolute peak of the building, the real institutional corruption is finally unmasked. A completely panicked Wahyu turns around and kills his own protector, Dagu, and takes Tama hostage. But Tama just laughs at him. He reveals that he knew about the raid the entire time. Wahyu was totally set up by his own corrupt police superior, Reza, as a pawn meant to be eliminated. Wahyu tries to shoot himself, realizing he's trapped in a web of corruption much larger than this apartment block, only to find out his gun is completely out of bullets. It is a stunning betrayal. So the whole plot wraps up with this quiet, surprisingly bittersweet resolution. Andi uses his influence in the building to ensure Rama, the wounded Bowo, and the disgraced Wahyu can actually walk out alive. He hands Rama these blackmail recordings Tama made with corrupt officials, like Reza, giving him the evidence he needs. But when Rama begs him one last time to come home, Andi refuses. He basically tells Rama that while he can protect him in the underworld, Rama can't protect him on the outside. Andi turns back to the apartment block, smiling as he walks away. And, this perfectly validates exactly why this deceptively simple, video game-like plot progression is globally praised. Like the critics say, it's no frills and all thrills. Gareth Evans took a highly contained environment and crafted an absolute masterpiece of escalating tension. It isn't just mindless action, it's intricately paced, survival-driven storytelling at its finest. Which leaves us with this final, chilling question to think about. Who truly survived the raid? Was it the men who physically managed to escape the building? Or was it the sprawling network of corruption that put them there in the first place? Did Rama actually win, or did he just survive to fight a much larger, untouchable beast? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the narrative.